Dragon's Dogma 2 has many different weapons and armor that can be purchased by many different merchants. Some of the strongest can even be purchased as early as mid-game if you know what you're doing. So it got me thinking, how hard would it be to play the game without using these merchants? Well, that's what we're going to find out today. In today's playthrough, I'm going to be beating Dragon's Dogma 2 without spending any money. Now, we're going to be expanding the word money to mean any form of currency, which means I cannot use gold to buy equipment or curatives at merchants. I can't pay for any ox carts, I can't pay for any innkeeps to rest at night and regain my lost gauge, and I can't enhance my weapons, so on and so forth. I'm also including Worm's Life crystals in this since you can buy things from the Dragon Forge as well in the late game. Basically, if I have to spend a form of currency in any way, it's off the table. Now, I wanted an additional challenge, so I'll also be playing solo without any pawns, I won't be able to use Wakestones, and I can't use any extracts to boost my stats. I'll also only be playing as a fighter during this run for funsies, and I won't be completing any side quests so I don't get too over-leveled and so I don't get any equipment that's too powerful early on. I kinda like the idea of only using equipment I find out in the wild through exploration alone, so with the rules of the game in place, let's go ahead and get started. As we make it through the opening sequences and get to the character creator, I decided to make mine a female this time, since I usually play as a male character on my main. We're of course going to make her as tall as possible to get the longest amount of leg stride, and I think this build in particular is a weird mix of Sydney Sweeney and Emilia Clarke, who plays Daenerys Targaryen in the Game of Thrones series. And by the way, if you're looking for this character in particular, I made a few tweaks, but the base that I used was made by u/iperfy on the Fashion Dogma Reddit that I will go ahead and link in the description. We'll name her Frugalia because I'm so creative, and then we'll pick a fighter to get started.
I ill like that look in your eyes.
Well, I'm just happy to see you, Fiska. We go ahead and meet up with Rook and move some rocks around before we quickly get into action, stabbing this Medusa in the face before taking the leap to the sweet release of freedom. We fly over the waters of Vermund before the Melv squad hits that 360 no-scope, and we find ourselves awakened on the ground with Rook taking the brine.
'Tis a wonder you survived.
Well, you know, when you have God on your side, miracles tend to happen. We go ahead and take on our first horde of goblins, which is a lot easier this time around since I do have experience with fighter this time. And we make our way to the border encampment.
You seek the Riftstone, do you not?
No, I actually don't seek the Riftstone, and here we are at the Riftstone. This pawn won't really be used in any part of our playthrough, so I go ahead and name him Kitty Cat Man, steal all his clothing and armor for the extra stats, and send him on his way.
Have I incurred your wrath in some respect, Master?
Nothing personal, kid, just business. We go ahead and take the free rest at the end, and...
A moment long awaited.
Wait, how the hell did you get here? Okay, so I guess you have to fully witness your pawn's death for him to disappear for good. And by the way, this was the only end rest the whole run we'll be able to do for the base game because they all cost money, which means we'll need to make sure to gather as much as possible and really plan out our fights much more than normal. Yeah, this run might be a bit more difficult than I had originally planned. For the early game, throwing enemies after flinching them is definitely a good strategy. It's just too bad that I completely forget about this mechanic until much later in the playthrough. Oh boy. So normally we wouldn't have to worry too much about the lost gauge in a normal playthrough. Your pawns do a good enough job of protecting you that you hardly get damaged, but unfortunately in this playthrough not only will we take more damage naturally because we don't have pawns to back us up, but we don't have a dodge mechanic button because we're only playing fighter, so all we can really do is block or deflect and position ourselves as best we can. We are the only source of defense, offense, and support in this playthrough, so we need to play close to perfectly, or at least very well, if we want to reduce the amount of curatives we use. And that's another thing, we can't buy any curatives. Every curative we get has to be manually looted, gathered, or combined as we journey through the game. So we have to take as little damage as possible for an optimal playthrough. These little golden trove beetles are going to be our best friend for the foreseeable future. We also have to make sure to get a decent amount of meat throughout the playthrough. Not only can we use it upon death to restore health and get back into the fight, but we can also use it to gain buffs when we finally get a chance to camp. And this is going to be very important, especially later in the game. Tell PETA that I would like to apologize for absolutely nothing because I love me some bacon in the morning and afternoon and at night. Anytime, really. We make it to Melv and get mind blasted by our childhood trauma, but thankfully Ulrika is here to be our emotional support character. We won't be seeing her for the rest of the playthrough, no side quests and all.
Arisen.
Gregor is here to see us safe to the capital, right after I finish looting Melv, a recovering city from a dragon attack, for all it's worth. Sorry, Leonard, no clearing out Saurians today.
Well now, that won't do.
While here at the inn, I will go ahead and deposit all my extra clothing and materials. Thankfully, managing your storage doesn't cost us any money, and vocation guilds don't either. By the way, I'm not counting discipline points as currency in case I didn't already mention it. Materials won't really do us any good since we can't spend money to enhance our equipment, which is really all it's good for aside from extra money, so they're really just extra weight for now. The only exception to this would be a Saurian's tail to combine with other curatives to make Roborant, but I don't do that a whole lot in this playthrough. Saurians are a pain to deal with solo anyway. By the way, my restored health was as a result of Ulrika nursing us back to health. I did not sleep at the inn because that would be against the rules. Unfortunately, we're going to have to turn Flora down after the literal child came by herself all the way to Melv from Vernworth because we're not doing any side quests. Too bad for her. It's moments like these that make me not want to do this restriction in the future, to be honest, but we're doing it today. After we're done snooping around, we decide to depart with Gregor and make our way through Norman Vermin. Just gonna take out these goblins. Well, that's unlucky. How about a taste of your own medicine, nerd?
An Arisen. Another pretender.
I swear, these men just want to have any excuse to see the scar on my chest, if you know what I mean. We finally find a modest camping kit which will allow us to camp, which will be pretty much the only way we can restore our loss gauge. There are two additional ways this is useful. One is that it also restores our green health back to full, which will save on curatives, and it will also give us buffs if we cook when we camp, which I mentioned earlier. The only downside is that it can be destroyed if monsters attack it, which I have found is completely random. Also, the lower tier of camping kit you have, the more likely it is to be destroyed when monsters attack, so don't expect this kit to last very long. It's also ridiculously heavy, and not having a pawn to hold it for me is really annoying because I'm slow now and everything takes more stamina to use. But I have no choice. It is a necessary sacrifice for this playthrough. This is not going to be very fun, is it? Just going to lug around my 2-ton camping kit. Don't mind me. One thing that I also made room for that is pretty useful but not used that often are these spell grimoires you can find in the overworld. They're actually decently strong and can one-shot enemies at early levels, which makes these goblins and harpies a breeze. You just gotta make sure you face the right direction or you'll miss like an idiot. Thankfully, even when I miss, I hit because I'm just that cool. I don't know why everyone decided to just abandon me here against these goblins because I just get absolutely dunked on for 2 minutes straight using a lot of curatives in the process. By the way, I watched the footage back and I have a random fire resist buff for 25% that I'm not sure why it's there. Maybe someone in the comments can let me know, but this does show up later and I'm not really sure why it's there. Before the big Cyclops fight, I make sure to rest up and get some combat buffs, and we are ready to dive right in.
Aye, a Cyclops! To think we'd encounter one here of all...
Running out of stamina really sucks right now. Alright, job is done. One ox cart ride later sees us to Vernworth and Brant, the captain of the Royal Guard. I hope y'all enjoyed that ride because that is the last ox cart we'll be able to ride because they all cost gold to use, which means we can't use them anymore. If you can't tell, this is kind of a pain point for me, and traveling is going to be very fun, I can already tell from here on out. Brant goes ahead and dumps the local political intrigue, and we are free to explore. You know, there is something very appealing about only looting weapons and armor via exploration. I think it's the difficulty curve is much more balanced whenever you do it this way. Of course, I still allow enhancements and all that, but not being ridiculously overpowered super early is a nice challenge by itself. And by the way, I can't buy fairy stones either, so I have to save each one that I find for important travel only. I know I mentioned that this is a fighter only playthrough, but I figured I'd mention that I can't complete the vocation frustration quest because it's technically a side quest. Not that it matters for this playthrough, but I figured I would mention it. And by the way, I'm treating Seeker's tokens as a currency, so won't be turning those in for extra rewards either. We meet up with Brant to start up the monster culling, Deesa's plot, and the Cage Magistrate quests.
This mission demands the utmost secrecy.
Well, then why are we in a public tavern, Brant? We go ahead and sneak into the palace and pick up the Marcher's armor set, but honestly, our body and leg pieces are already stronger than this from the pawn starter set. Might as well loot the palace while we're here, so up the watchtower we go. And while we're here, we can pick up the sentry's coif and chainmail for a decent upgrade. We grab the torn letter out the window and on to Waldar.
Have you proof that you are Arisen, as you say?
I swear, every line in this game just makes it awkward as hell to play as a female character.
Ah.
Jesus Christ. We gotta find Waldar a place to read, so we have to head off to Kendrick to complete pretty much the only required side quest in the entire run. After finding Malcolm and discovering the Gracious Hand's vault, we can return to Waldar and complete his quest. I usually fulfill the house quest at this point, and I know some will probably ask why I didn't complete it, but the first reason is that there's no side quests, and second reason is because I think that kind of defeats the spirit of the run in my opinion, since I don't want to bend rules and get around the restrictions I have, so I'll try my best to not partially start quests that I don't intend on completing. I want the challenge of camping only in this no spending run. We go ahead and return to Brant to turn in the Thesis Plot and Cage Magistrate quests and start up the Nameless Village and the Stolen Throne quests, and then get on our way. When it comes to all heal elixirs, they are allowed in this playthrough, but there aren't very many of them, so I'll only use them in emergencies, like if I'm in the middle of a boss battle and my gloss gauge gets too low. I mainly want to use these for later in the playthrough. Spoilers, it doesn't go exactly that way, but that was my thought at the time. While investigating, we encounter Wilhelmina for the first time.
You've the face of someone in search of a juicy morsel.
I swear, is everyone thirsty in this kingdom?
Or shall we find some other way to amuse ourselves?
Aye. Let's change things up.
Apparently, that answer is yes.
I get the poison in me and things happen is all.
Right. While we're peeping through the peephole, Phasis gets a name drop and we see ourselves out. Time to turn in the Stolen Throne quest and start up an unsettling encounter and make our way back to the palace. We go ahead and pick up the Batali Crested Letter and make our escape. And by the way, someone is going to mention that yes, there is an Iron Shield upgrade that I could have picked up here at the palace, but I didn't know that at the time, so I didn't pick it up. Sorry, nitpickers. We make our way around the corner for our escape before Wilhelmina gives us a taste of the palace poison and bails us out of questioning yet again.
You should count yourself lucky that he was so easily flustered.
Well, to be honest, so am I. With that out of the way, we are off to complete the quest and get our reward, and now it's time for the Nameless Village, our first venture out of the city. On our way out, night turns to day, and we encounter our very first griffin. Oh yeah, it's really nice when we get rammed by the random ox that happens to be in the vicinity. Alright, a heavy attack in the weak point does almost 0 damage to this 5 health bar enemy. Very nice. Yeah, let's kindly not. I do not have the curatives for this. These lizard boys might be a problem though. Oh yeah, we're really feeling it now, Mr. Krabs. Not so nice, is it, freaks? Finally got him. They really made Saurians so ridiculously tanky for a simple melee build. Alright, time to camp for the night. Listen, when I tell you that choppers are the most annoying enemies ever, I'm thinking about this fight in particular. Right in the balls, boy. Just gonna land the weak point strikes. Oh yeah, that damage is much better. Here comes that warrior to get a big stagger strike. I'm telling you, it would be really nice to have Hindsight Slash right about now. And finally, we deal the killing blow. The fight only took about 8.5 minutes in total. Pretty long one. We continue on the way to the Nameless Village to get to know the locals a little bit. Okay, look. 2 Saurians is a bit of a challenge for me as a fighter. 3 is a bit much. Oh, I guess he felt bad for me. I Guess I'm just not sure what it would take to explode these barrels. Maybe an open flame? Just gonna go ahead and camp for the night. Can you guys not? I'm literally using the bathroom IRL right now. There's a saying in football that Sammy's sideline never misses a tackle, so I guess Billy Bryan is undefeated in Dragon's Dogma 2? I'm gonna work on that bit a little more. Alright, well, immediately back to the campsite. Fun fact, if you cook rotten meat, it doesn't actually inflict the blighted debilitation. It's just a smaller boost than normal. Didn't know that until this run, actually. Really, guys? I can't get a single good night of sleep? Alright, back to camp again, and oh. I guess that last wolf attack destroyed my camping kit. Well, that's just great. So with no way to pass the time and no way to regain my lost gauge, I decide to continue to the Nameless Village as best I can to continue our quest. On the way there, I do make a wrong turn and encounter some bandits near this campsite, thinking I can grab a camping kit from here, and I decide to take them out, and this is where I learn of my extreme hate for archers in Dragon's Dogma 2. They're scoundrels. Every single one of them. There is nothing good about an archer in this game. If you're far away, they shoot and stagger you with every arrow. If you're too close, they kick you. Just nothing good about them, really. Finally got that one. And that's the last of them. With no camping kit, I'm kind of forced to make do and combine materials as best I can to survive. I really don't want to use that all heal right now because I still have over half my lost gauge, so the thought is to save my curatives in case I need to do a last minute heal upon taking a fatal blow. Well, it turns out I don't know the map as well as I thought I did, so I gotta backtrack a bit. But I'm a glutton for punishment, so it's time to see if I can outlast a Drake fight. You know, all things considered, I think I got this. Don't got it. Also, can we talk about how you can heal from death against a fatal blow, but not from fall damage? It makes me think that this is an intended mechanic and not an exploit. Maybe get some thoughts in the comments for this? Okay, round 2 with a friend this time. Alright, good start, good position. Perfect, good chance for some damage. Am I the only one who thinks my character sounds like Mikasa from Attack on Titan? It sounds a bit like the Japanese dub a bit. Alright, that throw was really close. Good thing I healed. Alright, more damage, baby! Okay, this is really not a good time to encounter phantasms. Yeah, just really not a good time. Oh, sweet. That Drake got it for me. 1v1 again. Alright, just gonna stab for some more damage. Alright, here comes the fling, and whoa! Okay, don't panic. Barely lived. Crap, here's the all heal. Perfect time to use it. Damn, that was close. Great, now more phantoms too. Alright, well, I don't really have a good way to deal with these. Let's go back to the Drake. Fantastic, no curatives. But I do have an emergent vitality scroll. Wow, that actually worked out pretty well. Sweet, thank you, Drake. Okay, so when the Drake has the heart imprint, you still gotta attack the head as the weak point because he still takes reduced damage until the heart is actually exposed. Good to know. Alright, more damage. I really gotta learn to avoid that move. So since the start of the second encounter of the Drake, we've managed to drive him off after about 11 minutes of constant fighting. For my efforts, I get absolutely nothing except a single pile of Worm's Life crystals that I can't use since I'm treating it as currency, but I did get a level from the Phantoms earlier. This was more of a limit test anyway, so I'm glad I was able to get past it. It was a very fun encounter. On the way back to the right path, I fight until night turns into day and drive off some bandits, finally making my way to the caravan for monster culling. I engage the fight with low health with the same strategy of healing only when I need to prevent death. After about a minute and a half of fighting, we finally clear the threat and consider part of the monster culling quest completed.
And what luck! Nary a scratch on the wares to show for it.
Wish I could say the same about me. Dude, no way. There is a freaking camping kit. Oh, I've never been so happy to be 7 kilograms heavier. I may be heavy status, but my heart is feeling so light right now. But there ain't no rest for the wicked because it's time for yet another boss battle. The Minotaur of the Eastern Forest. And that is a fantastic start. Okay, so we barely do any damage to it with our loadout. Time to check out the choppers first. Thankfully, I get the Minotaur to charge into the nearby rocks and knock himself over, a prime strategy for any Minotaur fight. Bruh, even the pigs are charging me, what the hell? You seriously gotta be kidding me. Oh, come on! Alright, so close range is not the way to go right now. I finally grow a brain after 3 minutes of fighting to get the Minotaur to continuously charge through this little opening the rest of the fight. The rest is smooth sailing for the most part. Yes, just come on down, boy. Congrats, guys. I think we broke him. Okay, guys, he's back. Saved. Finally, he's down. 13-minute fight, boys. And with that, we finally make it to the Nameless Village. By the way, in case you're wondering, it's nighttime now because sometimes your boy leaves the game on while I go do other stuff if I want to take a break or whatever.
You there. Are you looking to enter the village?
No, I only came all the way from Vernworth just to look at that gnarly scar of yours. Man, these nameless chickens are some of the most aggressive anywhere in Vermund. After looting the village, we make our way to the mansion, get our way through the journalist difficulty, and speak to our little chicken fodder to discuss Vermundian politics. So who is the bad guy?
His real name is Dara.
Ooh, so edgy. We go ahead and loot the storerooms for anything useful and head back to Vernworth on foot, making sure to camp all along the way. When I tell you I hate bandits in this playthrough, I really hate bandits, especially archers. My hate grows with them every day. Bro, can you please not? Quite literally fuck off, sir. This is one of the reasons I unequip Shield Bash from my skills after this fight. It's so bad. But you're just not using it right. Shut up. It's bad. My guy is so full of crap that he falls up a mountain. I can't make this up. So I hope that gave some context as to why archers are just the scum of the earth. I hate them all. Just gonna go ahead and camp. Alright, new limit test. Time to face a golem. Get finessed, boy. Oh great, always new friends to join in on a fight. Okay, not sure how that hit me or got me that way. Oh well, we go again. Just gonna pick up this boulder. Well, that's rude. There we go, that little drop should keep him busy. And one less rocky boy in the world. Alright, just gonna sleep it off. Are you kidding me, Griffin? Get stoned, brother. Alright, the riposte damage is just not there. Get stoned again, brother. Taste Vermundian steel, brother! Yeah, you better run. And by the power of editing, we arrive back in Vernworth to turn in the Nameless Village quest. Now we just have monster calling to finish up, and we're wrapped up with Vermund.
Scatter the
was a simple patrol mission till we walked into their ambush.
Well, why'd you do that? Next, it's time to head to Harv Village, and oh boy, this could take a while. We're not exactly what I would call optimized for a fight with an ogre yet, but we have some extra characters around, so it might not be too bad. Oh, this is kind of awkward. At the crack of dawn, this guy has somehow found his second wind and is getting really annoying to deal with. We're still dealing good damage, but he's starting to flee, which is very unlike ogres normally, especially since I'm a female in this playthrough. My guy is determined to get the hell out of there. I've never seen an ogre so hell-bent on fleeing before. And if things weren't bad enough, we'd run into an entire hobgoblin camp right as his health bar gets critical. Fantastic. To give you an idea of how bad Shield Bash is, I bashed this hobgoblin twice and he doesn't go flying once. I am upset. Oh Jesus, there's like 4 more. I am not having a good time. And now the ogre's back. Can we kindly not? Okay, got a vantage point. Suck on this. There you are, bitch. Eat this, boy. Just got some hobgoblin stragglers to deal with now. One down. And that's the last of them. Is there anyone else who would like some more? Oh, I guess there actually is. They cut away from the hit. Oh, you don't like that, do you? Damn, that's brutal. Alright, so at this point in the playthrough, I'm using a tool called Map Genie for Dragon's Dogma 2 to find different items in the overworld. It's especially useful for finding camping kits when you don't have one, like right now. Of course, you could always just buy one, but I can't. So there should be one right here, which means we gotta backtrack a bit to get any kind of health back. Probably gonna be enemies there too. Oh, thank God, there's literally no one here. Just gonna cook this up and rest. And we are back in Harv Village, ready to cull some Saurians. Just gonna quickly grab the drip and save my boy's life and turn in the quest before ferry stoning back to Vernworth. This is actually a pretty good way to avoid the Saurian quest that I don't want to start here in Harv Village.
I shall send word of your deeds to the captain.
Well, not if I get there first, nerd. Just gonna equip low-key the best skill in Fighter's Kit, Hindsight Slash, and this is pretty much my loadout. We have Compass Slash or Full Moon Slash for basic damage and knockback, Cloudburst Slash for even more knockback and vertical strikes, Gouging Skewer or Gutting Skewer for climbing damage mostly, although this can probably be replaced on second thought, and finally Hindsight Slash or Hindsight Sweep for iframes and counterattacks. It worked out pretty well for me as a fighter-only character. We go ahead and turn in monster culling and head off to the coronation of Dara to make our case when my pawn shows up in his underwear and starts cringing in embarrassment.
Master! Pray, leave this place! My body! It refuses to obey me!
Yeah, I get that a lot. Time to make an example out of this embarrassment of a pawn.
Now this is a bridge one can cross without fear.
Not today, sir. We return to get the Beastren border entry permit from Brant and the Port Crystal.
Few may pass through Batal's fortress, save Beastren merchants.
Well, that may be a challenge for us. See, this part of the quest is intended either for a Beastren or for us as a human character to buy a Beastren mask in order to conceal our identity and pass the checkpoint. Unfortunately, this is a no-spending run, meaning we cannot pay money to get an item to allow us to progress the main quest, which means we have to find another way. Now here's an interesting bit of detail for you. If you forget to do the Vocation Frustration quest, the game will go ahead and force fail you at this point, but you still unlock the Warrior and Sorcerer vocations anyway. Interesting little detail I thought I'd include. So anyway, we gotta start making our way towards the checkpoint Rest Town in order to try to complete this next quest, and there is a way to pass the border checkpoint without being a Beastren or buying a Beastren mask, but it involves illicit means, so that's what we're headed towards next. There's also a few upgrades I can pick up along the way. After beating up some enemies, I do want to try and preserve my heals by camping frequently, but we're about to find out just how much of a mistake that truly was. Say hello to these wolves, everyone. They just made my playthrough a living hell for no reason. We no longer have a camping kit, so they have to be put to sleep. Permanently. It's also nighttime, but I have zero way of advancing the time unless I run back to Vernworth, but I really don't want to do that. So the thought is that we need better gear and we need another all heal for emergencies. Thankfully, there is a cave near Sacred Arbor that I've never visited before that has the armor, and there is at least one all heal I can grab as well to restore my loss gauge until I can get another camping kit. Along the way, I encounter this lumbering oaf, and you're about to see why Hindsight Slash is such a good ability. Butt slams now equal a decent amount of damage to this Cyclops. Night turns to day, thankfully, and now we can start getting some real damage off. Just gonna keep meleeing its legs. Surely it will break soon. Oh yeah, this is some juicy damage. We're basically just gonna keep whittling down his health until he finally runs out doing this. And that'll do it. Alright, so the all heal elixir is on the way to this cave, kinda. We're at 40% health, level 19, so I think we can make this work. Okay, I did not know this was being guarded by a Cyclops. Same strategy applies here. Thankfully this one goes down much easier now that I know what I'm doing. I've been bamboozled. Okay, it's actually a little further up here. There we go. Alright, so this next place is called Dark Horde Cave, and going into it, I knew it was a Saurian nest, and I knew that it had the gauntleted petticoat, which is basically in-game gear for this playthrough. It's one of the best body slot armor pieces we can get. Saurians are challenging enough if there are enough of them, but they're doable for sure. And there's the last of them right there. What I did not expect was to find these in-game serpents in the game. I had no idea these were here at all, and to be honest, I did not know their whole moveset either. All I knew is that they're bad news for me. Yeah, I do 0 damage to these things. This is gonna be rough. Yeah, that's a yikes. Damage and unconscious. I'm gonna need to get creative. Thankfully, there are Saurian bodies all over the place. Jesus. Okay, so he definitely does not like heavy attacks on the tail. Yeah, there we go. And finally got him down. Just gonna go in and claim my prize now. Oh god, there's another one and I am not ready. Turns out there are 4 total in this cave, and if you don't aggro them correctly, they can definitely ruin your day. I also didn't know exactly how to get the petticoat yet, so I definitely died more than once trying to rush it somehow. Well, that's not the petticoat. Okay, that's another one down. At this point, I'm running low on heals, so desperate times call for desperate measures. I still have 2 more serpents to go. Kobe! Ah, crap. He's got me up against a wall. Stagger City. Thankfully, he's a stupid-ass lizard and I get out of it. Definitely do not want to be near him when he pops off. Okay, he's chased me out. Time to go for it. Perfect! Oh, come on. Really, dude? I already used the all heal too, so I'm kind of screwed for the loss gauge right now. Life-saving heals only right now. There we go, we got the stun lock, and down he goes. Just one more now. Okay, so he's just waiting for an ambush. Gonna try to lure him out. Alright, I'm gonna try to fight him out here where there's more space to reach his tail. Okay, this is not good. I could be screwed here. Yeah, no heals. I'm gonna need a different approach. I'm pretty sure that carcass was not there last time I was here, but I'll take it. Also, I noticed during this run that if you have to reload a save, you lose something like 20% of your remaining health from your previous save starting point. It's something I noticed later on, so that's not great. Alright, well I missed that one. Alright, not good. Ow. Come on, boy. Bullseye! The power of cranberries, let me tell you. Oh boy, time to get the hell out of here. Okay, he missed. Finally! Fight's pretty much over from here. And finally the prize. Gauntleted Petticoat is officially ours, and it feels so good. Alright, new predicament. I have to somehow find a camping kit or get to the checkpoint rest town safely by some miracle because I do not have any all heals and my health is at 10% maximum, so pretty much anything will kill me at this point. Okay, so I know I just said anything would kill me. The thought here was to trip the Cyclops over the bridge so I could cross, but it didn't work out that way. So he ended up throwing me for enough to kill me, but I guess because it was a throw, it didn't count as fall damage somehow. Not really sure how that worked out, but I'm across now. And by the way, straight up brining wouldn't have worked because it would just teleport me back on the same side, so I couldn't do that for anyone wondering. Just going to very quietly sprint around this Drake that totally won't see me. Okay, so at this point the next stop is Putrid Cave, which happens to have a grass pattern camping kit in it. This is the same place you can save Raj from wolves, but we're only focused on the camping kit here. Yeah, I am not interested in fighting whatsoever. Just gonna run past here. Oh look, it's the Phantom Ox card, everybody. And there he goes. Ooh, spooky. Okay, so just through here. Definitely have to expect wolves to be around. I'm pretty sure I can handle them. Hey look everyone, it's Raj. Turns out you can encounter him early to start the quest in reverse order. We're definitely going to need a better weapon at some point. Also, Raj can go get lost. We're not doing any side quests today. Just going to grab the camping kit we came for. Time to rest up. And now we can head to the Cenotaph and the Ancient Battleground. Initially, I was going to just slay this Drake for the extra experience, but Ballista are hard to aim without pawns, and I definitely die more than a few times trying. Yeah, not my day today. Anyway, let's get this old key for a nice upgrade we'll get in a second. That's the makeshift vault key. Now that we've made it to the rest town, it's time to place down our port crystal for later. Very convenient. Okay, so at this point, I'm healed up enough from the camping kit, but there is actually an elite camping kit very near to the second Sphinx Shrine, and this is the best camping kit you can get in the game. So in my first playthrough, when we picked up the elite camping kit from another location, it did not get destroyed even once. So at this point in the playthrough, it is a significant upgrade. It also only weighs 4 kilograms, which is a big difference in weight right now. And there it is. I'm just gonna peace out of here back to Vernworth and get my shield upgrade. Just gonna head down to the vault and use the key.
Leave this place at once!
Okay, can you please get out of my way?
Be gone. Do not make me warn you again.
Well, this is annoying. So Azorka apparently is normally here to guard the vault. I've never encountered her before in all of my playthroughs, but looking online, it seems she is nearly always here for some reason. Now, what Capcom didn't expect is for players to get extra creative. So apparently you can just come here at night to not encounter Azorka, but this is funnier, so I'm doing it this way. You just gotta pick up this barrel, toss it at Azorka to aggro her, run like hell until she turns around, pick her up while her back is turned, and toss her in the Vernworth Castle kitchens. Quickly run in before she knows who cooked her. And listen, I was surprised as well when the solution to getting past the guard was to put the woman in the kitchen. Capcom is pulling no punches here. And there's the best cape, and there's the Daughter of the Evening, which will be used later. You'll see. Ah, such a pretty Daughter of the Evening shield. Okay, so apparently there's a cart that's supposed to spawn here that I can sneak into to pass the gate into Batal without buying a Beastren mask. And guys, I tried reloading this area like 3 times. I didn't see a single cart, so I think I'm going to have to take the Gorko Cavern route again. I probably use it more than the intended route at this point, honestly. However, before we head that way, your boy needs a better weapon. There should be a Bane of Bones mace in the Misty Marshes, and on the way we can pick up a port crystal after I bust my ass on this nest. Excuse me, ma'am, it's clobbering time. Ah, that is much better. It's super effective against skeletons, in case you couldn't tell. Just gonna sneak around this sleeping Drake. We're not quite ready for that yet. Through the Gorko Cavern, gore harpies can suck my whole ass. Alright, let's go the other way because we clearly can't handle gore harpies right now. Oh yeah, Bane of Bones was definitely a good upgrade at a good time. Imagining having a silver rapier at this point. Alright, we're very low health right now, so no fighting with me please. No way, they actually bought it. Never been so happy to see this beach in my life. Oh, hello God. Rockmouse's burrow. Got it.
Methinks 'tis where you will find that which you seek.
Ah, the backside of Backbatal. Loving it. Just gonna make a quick pit stop at the Digger's Ruins to grab me the Sabatons of Judgment. And while I'm here, we can also grab Labyrinthus for another upgrade and extra damage to Minotaurs, which is pretty nice. Ooh, that is handsome! Okay, so it turns out that the Sabatons of Judgment are way up on this ledge, and without pawns, there is no way in hell that we'll reach it, but at least we got the upgraded mace. PETA, don't look, I need the meat. I need sustenance. Yes. Kindly stop, please. I'm trying to have a playthrough here. Listen, I've never been one for violence against good boys, but this ain't a good boy. I hate Garms, dude. There's literally 20 years of curatives just gone. All right, boys, you're about to witness what's called a pro gamer move. Medusa Gaze, meet Mirror Shield. Ah, that felt so good. The experience in free level was nice, but now for the real prize, the Hood of Non-Entity. Now the world will never know their savior. We make our way up the stairs and encounter Sigurd, who is here to help us fell the Lesser Dragon, which, believe me, we're gonna need it as a fighter.
Allow me to join you in this trial.
The pleasure is mine, bro. Aside from the Lesser Dragon fight, we can also pick up our final shield upgrade for the endgame now that the Mirror Shield has served its purpose. Alright, now for the Lesser Dragon fight. The Lesser Dragon has these boils, which must be burst in order for him to be staggered so we can deal some real damage to him. There are 3 problems. 1, my curatives will not last forever, so I can only take so many hits, and this is why we need Sigurd for his shields. 2, the Lesser Dragon is tanky as all hell, and normal attacks outside of weak points will do hardly anything, so we unfortunately need to do a lot of climbing on Fighter, which is not something we're really optimized for. 3rd, this arena is really freaking terrible for a Lesser Dragon fight. He clips through terrain and shifts me while I'm climbing, and the camera plays tricks up against walls too, making this a really rough time. Furthermore, if I get flung off, it gets counted as fall damage, which means the shield won't protect me and I can't heal after death, which is going to be a problem. Yeah, that's probably death number 2. Great. You've probably noticed at this point that my loss gauge gets smaller every time I die too. I don't know if that's a bug between saves or not, but it's really raising the stakes here. Alright, doing some good damage. Oh, great. Please, man, it's been an hour already. Just die! Holy crap, please just give me a break. We just started. Please be the last time I fight you. Please die! Yes! Yes! Rest in piss, motherfucker!
I pray you do not walk the same path as I have.
Oh, I'm getting there, Sigurd. I am getting there. With the Lesser Dragon dead, it's time for us to finalize our build and head for Agamemnon Volcanic Island, but to get there, we first need to pass through Drabnir's Grotto. Aside from the constant knackers in this area, it's not too much of a bother to get through. Oh, and because we have a mace, which deals striking damage, we can easily clobber our way through the rattlers here too. And for my last trick, I summon the Exalted. Pretty nice upgrade for now, but that knockdown stat ain't too great. It's not our final upgrade, but it'll do for the split second we wield it.
Ow! My back!
Ah, hope he gets his back fixed. I'm starting to think it wasn't smart to pick a fight with an entire army of hobgoblins. Yeah, maybe not. Just gonna run past this time. Just gonna run through Volcanic Base Cave. And here's our final weapon of the game. Molten Fury with more damage than anything else for the fighter. Even better than the Unmoored World weapons with its fire enchantment. And even though Drakes and Dragons still resist fire, it's still better than the Exalted, which is kinda crazy. Back in Backbatal, we meet up with Manila to progress the main storyline where she tells me about the persecutions of the pawns.
They are harsh in their persecution of the pawns.
How convenient for this solo playthrough.
You would do well to first travel to the Batal coast and seek a man named Ambrosius.
Alright, God, you got it. Yes, we gotta go meet Joaquin Phoenix out on the beach. He tells us he's on the lookout for blue crystal shards, which are fragments of the Godsway, which are fragments of the soul of an Arisen, so in some weird kind of way, he's using the crystallized power of an Arisen to mimic the pawn commanding ability of the Arisen. How very pathetic, really, considering what happens later on. We're getting pretty close to endgame, and the one piece of equipment we need to upgrade now is our leg piece. I'm starting to think we go after the Dark Metal Greaves found in Riverside Cavern, so we're going to dive right in. Just gonna take care of this three-headed kitty, snake, goat thing. Good boy. Ah, finally, a decent pair of pants. And with our drip complete, we can now move forward with the story. Just gonna climb up this ladder and... oh, an old lady.
Well done, Arisen One. You have seen through my deception and divined my location true.
Bro, I just climbed a ladder, nothing special. Maybe pick a better hiding place? She teaches me how to smuggle cigs into Nadinia's chambers and to look for the Rivage Elder in Har Village. By Salamet's secret spell tome, he summons Grand Soren out of the sea, and it's time to meet the spirit animal. Rothias here sounds like he smoked one too few.
Alas, the ages have taken their toll.
But he gives me his soul sword, which sounds like a euphemism in my humble opinion. At least Talos thought it was funny. I show Ambrosius my Arisen, but he tells me we need some enhancements in order to satisfy him. The way to do this, of course, is to provide some Worm's Life crystals. Unfortunately, I had a brain fart during the Lesser Dragon fight with Sigurd and discarded the crystals I already had. But thankfully, we can always kill a drake in order to get the crystals. You know, everyone always says how challenging drakes are, but thankfully I've mastered the art of running in a straight line to dodge meteors, and we bring the drake down without too terribly much trouble. I say that, this one took about 20 minutes altogether, but now we can bring the crystals back to Mr. Phoenix.
The result is even more sublime than I'd hoped.
I guess he really likes my Arisen. God cops a feel, leaving us in visible shock, and now it's time to present that which we are endowed, to summon Talos, the bane of all euphemisms. Apparently he was so unamused that he decided he'd rather be in hell, so off he goes. No XP for me though. Kinda sad. And with that, it is time to make my final preparations before we face the dragon. After making an hour-long trip to Vernworth to gather curatives and combine everything we had, we are left with over 300,000 gold collected in total and with the following curatives. And in keeping with the spirit of the challenge, I didn't go for any level grindings, so we are left at level 36 with the following stats as a fighter. Still don't know why my fire resistance is 38% though. Good thing too, because there's a lot of it. Unfortunately for Greg, he's stolen the best boy, and we can't have that.
So now, it's time to duel!
Even knowing of what I speak, then there is naught more to be...
After taking enough blows to the head, Greg drops us off conveniently at a ballista just in time to get his wings clipped. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Now thou wilt witness my true strength. Arisen. That's it.
Mr. Krabs will be proud. We've become a ruler without spending a single cent. Our work here is done. Or is it? A few blasphemous acts later, we're thrust into 1940s Mexico, and it's time to take it to the local wildlife. Alright, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm level 37, I'm solo, I'm a fighter. This is not going to be a fun time. The original plan was to get the Monarch's Crown, the Knightly Brigandine, and the Vanguarder's Greaves and deal with all these progeners that are the source of the beams of light in the sky. The following deaths changed my mind about that though. After wasting an hour and a half of my life late at night, I decided to just get on with evacuating the citizenry, starting with the elves. Funny enough, Glender acts as if we're besties, even though we never spoke to each other in the base game because of the whole no side quests rule. And speaking of side quests, in order to progress with the evacuation of the elves, we would then need to do the Arborheart side quest in order to proceed with the evacuation. So that's a no. Instead of doing that, I'm just going to limit test against Wormy here. So if you couldn't tell, this fight is long. It's painful because I'm a fighter trying to climb and attack at the same time. And what's better, I try to jump grab the head and this happens. Yeah, not a great time. So I think at this point I've done enough with that monster for the proof of concept. You can definitely destroy each boss one by one if you really wanted to and rest in between each one if you get the order right. And I think mistakes aside, I've more than proven that. However, in order to beat the game outright with the true ending, all you really need to do is meet up with your pawn, who gets tossed immediately for this playthrough, and destroy the Batal Dragon, which ironically is the easiest one and just has hordes of enemies. To wrap up, I decide to continue the evacuation for Batal and Vermund, making sure to say hi to Sven along the way. And now all that's left to do is sleep the nights away and watch the elves get absolutely wiped from existence. I never knew them in this playthrough. And now with a final look at all my stats, we can put an end to Dragon's Dogma 2 without spending money. First and foremost, I just want to say that I really enjoyed this challenge from start to finish. I think as a game, Dragon's Dogma 2 just offers too many good options to outright buy, so having to actually find all of my gear and plan my playthrough around that was really fun. Don't get me wrong, it was challenging too, but that's what made my eventual success so satisfying. Choosing to go as a fighter was also a good choice, I think, in terms of balance. It was nice to have to tactically approach some of my fights, but man, I really hate archer stun, let me tell you. Not having pawns, I think, is just going to be a staple of every playthrough now. Dragon's Dogma 2 is just kinda easy in that way, and I really enjoy having only myself to rely on. Going forward, I might restrict my weapon and armor choices to be ones that I can only find in the wild though. I really liked having to earn every piece as I went, so I might keep that singular restriction. I definitely would not recommend restricting rests to only camping. That part was annoying in some areas, but we made it through, thankfully. Also, I probably won't restrict side quests again. Part of the run were awkward because of that, and I think that's going to wrap up my thoughts on the run. As a question to y'all, I want to ask if you would rather me show each progenitor fight in my future runs, because I did skip them this time around because I thought I proved the concept, but I can see how some would want them. Let me know if you really care about the progenitors, or if you'd rather me just end the run at the dragon. Let me know down in the comments. Overall, it was pretty fun, and I'd recommend it for anyone looking for a different way to take the game on, for sure. But that's going to do it for the video today. Thank you all for watching. I've been OSK, and I'll talk to you again real soon.